Hi everybody and welcome to the Gutter Glitter podcast where I, Kirsty, read you a chapter from my memoir, Gutter Glitter. So this week we are getting into chapter 3. It's called Let Go of That Which Keeps You Ill. And as you know, each chapter title is taken from a lyric of a song that was inspiring to me in some way, either helped me get through that period of time, reminded me of that period, or was valuable to me when I was writing the chapter. We're doing something a little bit differently this week in that the title of this chapter is taken from one of my own songs that I wrote over a decade ago. It's called She's Okay, and I'll give you a little snippet before we get into the chapter just to set the scene, and then I'll play the whole song for you at the end. I have to say, I feel a little bit vulnerable sharing this song with you now. It's always a little bit scary sharing something that you wrote and recorded a long time ago because you feel like you've changed and grown so much as a person, but it's also a great depiction of that snapshot of your life. And so that's why I think it's important that I share it. As an older gal now, all I want is to say, oh, this is what I would do differently now. This is what I would change. I want to make excuses for my voice, but I'm just going to let it simmer, let it be, and this is who I was as a girl in her early 20s that was struggling with a lot. Oh, and special thank you to Tom Veach, who is the beautiful cellist you hear in the background. Follow along on Instagram, subscribe, all that crap. Enjoy.
What's happened to my mind today? What's happened to his lungs? What's happened to my feet? All broken from the run. Is that goodbye to the chin? Let go of that which keeps you ill. She's okay. She's okay.
Chapter 3. Let Go of That Which Keeps You Ill. Soundtrack, Kirsty Moore, She's Okay. After secondary school, I went on to study classical voice at the Melbourne Conservatorium of Music. I had a decent voice, but my perfectionism suffocated the freedom of my creativity. Everything I produced sounded like it was missing something. It was hard to identify because technically I could sing a near-perfect Schubert, but I knew what it was. It was missing a heartbeat. I hate the identifier perfectionist. Generally speaking, it's just code for anxiety driven by worthlessness. You're constantly striving for an unreachable goal because you don't feel your best will ever be good enough. Classical music requires a level of precision, but once the piece is learned, you're expected to add your own expression, your soul. That's what makes you an artist and not a carbon copy. But I couldn't do it. I was wound so tight I couldn't let go and be free. I was rigid with my eating, obsessive with my exercise, and every facet of my life needed to be planned down to the minute. Letting go even a little bit could unravel my entire life, which was far too risky. Therefore, there was no room for anything but rigidity in my music. These days, you don't need a talent to be a celebrity. You can shake your tits on TikTok and become an overnight sensation. What I wouldn't have given to be a teen in today's world. Kidding! Kind of. For most of my life, I pretended I wanted to sing because I felt it was my destiny to share my story with large crowds of adoring fans, to heal them with my voice and hold them with my words. But if I'm honest, what I truly desired was fame. My voice was just the vehicle that was most likely to get me there. I wanted it so badly that it ruled my life. It was the reason I wanted to be skinny, to emulate the minuscule frame of Christina Aguilera belting out Lady Marmalade in the noughties like it ain't no thing, in a wig that was twice the size of her vanishing waist. Of course, now she admits to having had the pressure of the industry breathing down her neck to maintain her underweight image, and that she hated being skinny. But sadly for myself, and I'm sure millions of other young girls, the damage was done. By the time she was telling us that you are beautiful no matter what they say, words can bring you down, I not only hated my body, but I was losing hope that my voice would ever be enough to bring me the star power I so achingly craved. I'd become so jaded that even when I won singing Eisteddfods and garnered roles in amateur theatre productions, I would berate myself for the ways my performance hadn't met my impossible standards. I'd spend days and weeks mulling over what I should have done better. Not even winning could make me happy anymore. When I was a small child, I loved singing. At 5 years old, I would sing in the school choir and puff out my chest with pride as I sang as loud as I could to the audience of bored parents and my obnoxiously snoring dad. Teachers and parents would praise me for my enthusiasm and for the pure joy you could see bursting free of my heart as I sang. Not a care in the world, I soaked up the warm lights on my face, the audience's mediocre applause raucous in my ears. I'd chuckle overtly with my best friend on stage as we sang funny-sounding Christmas carols. Good King Wenceslas last? I'm still not sure. And who names their child Engelbert Humperdinck? Come on, someone was having a laugh. Over time, my love of the stage developed into another unhealthy obsession, driven by the need for acceptance. When others achieved successes, great or small, I would seethe with jealousy, seeing it as diminishing my own. This would go on for years before I realized the dream I coveted so desperately no longer gave me pleasure or served me in any way. During my tertiary music studies, my health should have been improving. I was eating better and fighting back against my anorexic inner voice. Instead, I was getting weaker and more exhausted by the day. It got so bad that even breathing was a struggle. I was at Melba to sing bold, sexy Italian opera, and yet I barely had the capacity to sing a nursery rhyme. My muscles were weak and my voice was breathy and dry. As a way to cope with my failing operatic voice and unwillingness to give up on my destiny, I began to write my own music. I was inspired by artists of my generation like Jewel, Regina Spektor, Kate Miller-Heidke, Alanis Morissette, and Tori Amos. Women whose music spoke to the heart in ways the factory-produced pop icons I grew up worshipping had not. These women had unusual voices that couldn't be boxed into a single category. And rather than singing about putting their hands up into club or shaking that ass, they wrote about heartache, longing, rage, and the darkness within themselves and others. Their music showed me what music should be. A safe place to put your deepest hurts and insecurities down on a page. A place to unburden yourself, and if you're lucky, you might even connect with someone who has felt the same. Pop stars taught me that if I could just be pretty enough, skinny enough, and cool enough, I could make it. But these talented artists showed me that maybe I could be more than that. Every day, I would catch the train from bushy, quiet Eltham, where I lived with my family, to North Richmond for uni. North Richmond opened my eyes to just how sheltered I was growing up. For the first time in my life, I witnessed true desperation in those streets. I regularly saw muggings, syringes littered the pavement that guided my path to the conservatorium, and often I would see people passed out in their cars with needles still hanging out of their arms. My eyes were opened to the true dangers of the world. But the school itself was wonderful. I was surrounded by other students passionate about music and performance. People who wanted to make a career out of music and believed it was possible, despite, I'm sure, being repeatedly told it wasn't. True artists with real talent resided in those walls. On the train in, I would write lyrics and inspiration in my leather-bound notebook that screamed deep and moody. I wrote with the intent of creating the most achingly beautiful piece that would touch the hearts of millions and shoot me to superstardom. I imagined dismissing my fame when bombarded by paparazzi. Please, for the love of God, just let me live. I would plead with the hordes of crowds, desperate to get a glimpse of me in my oversized sunglasses and dollar store wig. I imagined that when I died, way before my time, as any starlet worth her weight should, they would find my stash of journals and marvel at the extraordinary mind behind the craft. An artist and genius gone too soon, the tabloids would read. In reality, I churned out more cliched bullshit than an after-school special, with only a sprinkle of insightful gems. It was that monkey and a typewriter kind of thing. If I wrote enough, something decent was eventually bound to fall out. At uni, we studied our craft, took drama lessons, learned music theory, and practiced Romance languages so we wouldn't butcher Delibes' flower duet. I appreciated Melba for the size of the school. It was small, so students from different year levels and varying instruments got to know each other well. We formed strong friendships and connections that to this day include some of my favourite people, all of whom went on to have various careers in music. One guitarist in particular, Reese, would become an important player in my journey to musical freedom. Looking back, I wish I had been healthier and able to enjoy it more. I was consumed with anxiety and would flit from my classes to the gym, to therapy, to part-time work, and to band rehearsals with Reese, who I'd roped into playing my tunes with the promise of world domination. As a way to explain my weakening voice, my high school music teacher would tell me I'd been nothing more than a big fish in a small pond, and now I was experiencing my abilities in the real world, up against the best of the best. Rude? I really felt like something was physically wrong. But having no better explanation, I accepted that I must have been imagining any talent. And this was the brutal truth. My dreams, like my voice, were trash. Despite this crushing revelation, Reese and I kept plugging away. We wrote a lot together over the next 2 years. He would play catchy pop hooks on guitar, and I would sing over them with my lyrics. It was the first time I had ever put my poetry to music, and I loved it. I was feeling betrayed by my ailing body and dwindling singing abilities, but with Reese, we made the rules. We didn't have to conform to the confines of classical music or sell out and adapt to a particular pop mold. We were in charge and could make the music work for us. No right, no wrong. Reese and I were often reprimanded for making acoustic pop at a highbrow classical college. We didn't care. We knew we were good. He was inspired by the glam rock of the 80s, crossed with Ashlee Simpson, and I by tearful female poets, crossed with Ashlee Simpson. Somehow it worked. We made music together for 2 years, gigging semi-regularly around Melbourne and recording some of our own demo CDs. It was exciting. We shared a drive and passion for performance and the music industry. But over time, my health worsened. My chest got tighter, my breath weaker, and I had acquired unrelenting back pain that squeezed like a boa constrictor around my ribs. It was getting harder and harder to ignore. To earn money while at uni, I taught Body Balance, a yoga-inspired fitness class. This kept me consistently learning new yoga postures and demonstrating as I taught. As a result, my back pain and tight chest were dismissed as stubborn, strained muscles. For months, I saw physiotherapists, osteopaths, expert singing teachers, and Alexander Technique specialists who told me how young and healthy I was and how I really should be getting better. My lack of improvement an insult to their practice. Maybe I was wrong. Maybe the pain wasn't so bad. I just had to push through and suck it up. Is everyone this tired? Does everyone always feel like this and just go about their lives ignoring the pain? I continued to teach yoga even though I would cry myself to sleep every night, surrounded by ice packs to dull the burning in my spine. I kept performing at uni, even though I was humiliated by my ever-weakening voice and disappointing performances. And I kept writing music and rehearsing with Reese, even as I watched my dreams rapidly slip away. I had been so used to pushing myself through any circumstance that I didn't consider taking time out. The show must go on. If you make a single mistake on stage, you sing through it and you never let it show. If you have been crying backstage minutes before you go on, you slap some Vaseline on your teeth and smile so bright that no one notices your red, tired eyes. Even if you lose your voice right before you are meant to sing in front of thousands of your peers for house music at Hamer Hall, true story, you get up on that stage and you razzle fucking dazzle them because that's your job. You are the entertainer or you're nothing. So when I had to get up on that carpeted, sweat-soaked stage 10 times a week and teach yoga with a spine full of fire, I did it. I would frantically call mum in tears minutes before the class for a pep talk, but then I would slap on that $1 million grin and take center stage. I lived like this for 6 months before I got any answers. Razzle fucking dazzle.
What's happened to my mind today? What's happened to his lungs? What's happened to my feet? All broken from the run. Is that goodbye to the chin? Let go of that which keeps you ill. She's okay. She's okay. She's okay. I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm alright. My knees start to crumble under the weight of my own head. What's happened to my brain? What's happened in my bed? I've just changed the sheets. Already they are dirty. Strange how it feels so right now. She's okay. She's okay. She's okay. I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm alright. Talk to them. I let the ugly out. I let the ugly out. Talk to them.